Ladies and gentlemen, hello from the New York City studios here in MLG. The MLG studios here in New York City. Mixed that up a little bit. That's okay. Of course, you're watching the winter season showdowns, a best of 5 between Sase and Snute in Heart of the Swarm to see who gets that spot, that coveted spot at the Winter Championships in Dallas, Texas on March 15th. Sase is currently up 2-0. Snute has some work to do. Sase is 1 win away. Before we get into Game 3, though, quick little shout out, quick little plug to Full Sail University. Of course, you just saw that awesome promo. If you're interested in any of that stuff, no reason not to go to fullsail.edu/MLG. Computer animation, computer design, graphic design, bunch of opportunities available to you at Full Sail University. Fullsail.edu/MLG is your source. Head on over there, give them some of your information. They'll send some information back to you. You can see if that's the right place for you. And of course, support esports and MLG at the same time. So again, get on that if you're in high school or college and you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life.
Good choice.
Good choice. All right.
Good choice.
Now, game number 3. Let's go ahead and jump inside it again. This is a must-win for Snute. It's going to be must-wins for him for the rest of the way if he wants to get that spot. Of course, I know he has a lot of fans out there. Speaking of which, right now, I want every single one of you to go to the Reddit thread, go to the Team Liquid thread, post a comment, say, go Sase, go Snute. Show your support for these players that I know you love and adore, and have a nice conversation with your co-viewers about what's going on. Who's doing stuff right? Who's doing stuff wrong? What is Heart of the Swarm going to become? How are you? How would you play these games in these situations? Of course, we encourage all participation in the communities. Maybe you can get to know some friends as well. Maybe hop on channel MLG in StarCraft 2 or in Heart of the Swarm and discuss the games there. But, of course, discussion is always fun and always great. And while you're doing that, head on over to youtube.com/officialmlgse2. Check out any VOD you missed from this tournament. And, of course, drop a subscribe if you do enjoy the content and you would like to support MLG. And, of course, if you want to stay up to date on all the VODs from this tournament. So, that being said, let's go ahead and introduce the players. In the bottom left-hand location, we have the Protoss player from Sweden in the red, who is currently 1 win away from getting that spot at the MLG Winter Championships. He is Sase. His opponent in the top right-hand location, the blue Zerg player, having recently joined Team Liquid, their newest recruit, trying to also get that spot at the Winter Championships, but must win 3 in a row at this point. He is Snute.
You know, one thing I want to talk about a bit here is I've noticed a trend. Snute's been getting, I have to say, he's been getting outplayed in the first 5 minutes of the game, every single game so far this series. The first game...
That's true.
I mean, yeah, Sase's builds are so well constructed, and Snute's not reacting to them. I mean, one thing I've noticed, Sase's been scouting late every single game. Knowing this, Snute should be going hatchery first. I mean, like, there's no reason not to go hatchery first unless the Protoss will block it with the probe. As long as you're decent at scouting, you shouldn't lose the cannon rush. And Snute's not a player who would lose the cannon rush. So the only reason he's not going hatchery first is because he's scared of the probe blocking it, and then he ends up behind. But Sase has not been, like, there's just no probes coming, so he could get away with the hatchery first. And then, like, the last game, that build Snute did, like, I feel... I was thinking about how that could possibly work, right? Like, he has to do damage. How can he do damage against that sentry count? He can't. Unless, what if instead of getting Zerging speed, he got burrow? Pushes up with the roaches.
Because there's no cannon there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is there's no DPS on the Protoss side, but he can force field out and fight roaches 1 or 2 at a time. He has so many forces he can keep doing that, shaving off roach, shaving off roach, shaving off roach, and eventually there's no roaches left. But if you have burrow, every time you're forced to use burrow, it might have potential against the gateway opening. I mean, if the Protoss can't identify it, which so you shouldn't be able to, it's going to be hard for him to notice that, right? I think it could work.
Yeah. It's very tricky. It's a very tricky situation because you're talking about 100 gas. You're talking about the time it takes to research burrow. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how these players decide to take advantage of these new changes, or what kind of strategies end up getting developed. But yeah, I think that would have been very interesting indeed had Snute gone for some sort of play like that. But we'll see if he can come up with something in this game, and maybe he'll do it in a future game. But yeah, I'm excited to see how burrow is going to be used. But yeah, in this game, Sase opening up with that expansion build, getting the Forge in his main base. Of course, if there's a guy who really optimizes his economy, it's probably Sase.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not too unusual to see him get like just 2 guys on gas, make sure all of his buildings are very close to his mineral line so he can go right back to mining. And this is how he establishes very minor advantages with like probe count and stuff, which does add up as the game goes along.
It does. Sase is a master of making small things add up to a significant thing, and then hitting a timing where that significant thing is a game-ending thing, right? Not just letting it slowly fade away. My mind's still stuck on the roach idea. I mean,
Yeah.
Sase could have just built a cannon. He would have been fine with spread roaches.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm trying to figure out the logic behind Snoot's build last game, and one thing I think of is
was it defensive? Like,
maybe he assumed Sase was gonna go one base or Nexus cancel. That's the only reason you would do what Snute did. Is you like are really confident to go in one base 4 gate or Nexus cancel. Versus anything else, it's just not gonna work. So it was a little bit unfortunate for Snute, but this game, playing a standard game,
looking very standard.
very very standard. And Sase, he's opening with some 4 gate pressure.
We kind of saw this in the last game, honestly. A little bit, right?
Yeah, it was different. It was Sentry heavy later. This is going to be, +1 Zelts. This is like what we've seen. If you guys
basically the Mothership Core
4 gate +1 Zelt.
Yeah. Well, the Mothership Core poke, where you have the ability to recall at any moment.
We've seen this a lot on the King of the Hill matches. If you go to HOTS exhibitions, check out those. Very popular among Shu. I think Baby Knight did it too. They followed with Stargate. Sase is followed with a very fast third base and Robo, which I actually kind of like too. It's a little more like basic core Protoss solid way of doing things. Not going to mess around with those fancy new Stargate units. Just very solid gameplay. It's new 10 roaches.
Yeah,
that's a lot of roaches.
That is a lot of roaches. It's going to be able to hold off this push, but Sase's not too worried about doing a lot of damage with this. He wants his opponent to make a lot of units. He wants his opponent to spend that larva on the
Zerglings too.
Snute is going to have to counterattack, and he has to do damage.
He's got to cancel a third. This much of unit commitment.
You think so?
Yes. If he doesn't kill a third, he's going to be so far behind.
Oh, I thought you meant Sase.
Oh, no, sorry, I meant Snute.
Okay.
If Sase holds his third, this game is extremely in his favor. Snute is either he scouted third, he wants to punish it, or he just thought it was the build from the first game that it gained.
Oh, wow.
Oh, beautiful micro.
Look at that. Placing the gateway down right when the Lings were about to run in, placing that force field in a perfect position. Snute is going to have his hands full trying to apply aggression here. Now that an Immortal is here, Mothership Core is here, guess what? He can do Photon Overcharge onto that Nexus. Force fields, beautiful there from Sase, trapping those 4 roaches. Snute trying to make something happen, but more great force fields here from Sase. Snute going to try to wrap around this Nexus.
Beautiful flank by the Speedmans, though. Photon Overcharge goes down, but the force fields are running out.
Wow, Lings and Roaches actually able to get up close and personal. The force fields, I think the last one was used to protect the sentries, and that's going to be a great force field. And Sase, he's going to hold this off.
No problem, man. No problem. He lost like 1 sentry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost like a gateway, a couple zealots, but I mean, let's check out the units lost tab because I feel like
I'm way ahead of you, bro.
You are.
61 to 15, 2250 to 1587. So not that bad, but the point is Sase got that progression in tech. He got this third secured, and his income is F54 harvesters.
Yeah, I mean they're almost dead even on economy.
Yeah.
But a Zerg who committed that much to low tech units has got to be way ahead in economy. Infestation Pit, Roach Speed are just started. Sase's got Immortals already out. He's got Twilight done. Double Forge is now finished. I mean, this is a very uphill battle for Snute. You know what? I really want to see Snute go Swarmhost. I've got to say it. Like a conventional, when you're this far behind as a Zerg player, I mean, he's not hopeless. Sorry, he still has a decent chance.
Sure.
Good Infestor control could get him back in the game, but
good counterattacks potentially.
Good counterattacks. But Sase being ahead and Sase being up 2-0 in the series, I just want to see Swarmhosts because this could be the last chance to see them.
Swarmhosts are awesome.
They are, and as from my experimentation, they're really strong against Protoss. Like because you can control them, you just lift them up, run away, keep doing that every cycle that the Locust spawn. And Sase is not getting any Colossi.
The robotics bay just now placed down.
Okay, you're right. So and he's getting the second Robo too, so he's gonna power them out.
Sase going to be hallucinating, trying to find out what his opponent is doing. Going to spot that infestation pit, spot the layer, sees that the hive is not yet underway. And, you know, Snute has a great drone count right now. He's at 80 drones, and now he can really start investing into those infestors. We have 7 on the way, now 8. And a question of mine is, where does he go from here? Do you go into that Greater Spire player? Do you go into those Broodlords, especially with the change in Heart of the Storm of the Tempest, where it's now much easier to deal with the Zerg player going for that Broodlord Infestor composition when you have those Tempests on the field? Hold that thought, though. It looks like Sase advancing towards his opponent's central expansion, but look at that! The fungal coming out! The Infestor's popping at the perfect moment, but Sase's like, you know what? I want none of that. I'm out of here.
Yeah. If he waited a little bit longer recall, all those sentries would be dead. Look how close they were.
Jeez.
Look how close they were dying. It's another second, they all would have died to the next fungal.
That was great from Snute.
It was. I mean, beautiful play there. Got sky information.
Does he have a Spire?
There's no Spire.
Because we have 2 Colossi in production at a time. I feel like Sase is going to push with 4 Colossi and Thermal Lance after 2-2.
The big story here right now, I think, is the upgrades. Sase is moments away from being 2-2. He's actually already started 3rd armor. Snute hasn't even started the 2nd level of any one of his upgrades. So this is, I mean, yeah, Snute's maxed, but it's maxed with a lot of roaches. The infestors are great, but there's going to be a ton of Colossi, amazing upgrades. Oh, I mean, what's going to, like, let's check out the army value tab for a second here. So Snute right now is ahead by like 2,000 resources. But as soon as these 2 Colossi pop and another Warpent Cycle, 2 Colossi is 1,000 resources, next Warpent Cycle will be another 1,000 resources. It's going to be equal army values. Snute can't increase his army at all. And if it's equal army values with 2-2 Mega Protoss army versus a predominantly Roach-based thing, I mean, I'm just really, really worried for Snute here. Wait, if
he's getting +1 missile there.
And he's going to set up a flank, I think. Look at this. Units on the high ground, units on the low ground, creep spread.
Denying this force would be huge for him. Needs to keep the Infestors alive. That's going to be very important. Extending forward with the Infestors right now. Throwing down those Infested Terrans. Swinging the Lings and the Roaches to this 4th base. Going to target it down. Going to try to force the cancel. And I think he's going to be successful. Again, though, needs to get those Infestors out. Once those start having to deal with the Colossi, it can get very dangerous indeed. Going to fungal the units on the ramp. Brilliant play here from Snute. And
if he can get rid of those sentries.
The Colossus starting to poke at those Infestors. Got to be careful with those.
If he can get rid of the sentries, all of a sudden his Roaches regain some value.
Yes, they can press up really close and get that damage done to the Stalkers and Colossus in theory.
There's still 2 sentries with almost full energy, though. And there's going to be 2 Time Warps. So 17 more drones from Snute.
He wants the spine. Yep.
He realized what's going on. He says, you know what? That army is already better than mine. It's not going to get any worse because the odds of Sase killing his own units is pretty low. So it's only going to get better. So he's got to add in, you know, some defense to buy time.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of money. So if he can buy time to get out a fleet of Corruptors, if he can get like 15 Corruptors on the field, he can...
It's definitely doable.
It is.
He even freed up some supply to do that by making all those spines.
I mean, he can take this game, man. I'm telling you. I've been saying all game how Sase's ahead, but I mean, he still has upgrades there. He's going to be 3-3.
Look at this creep spread, by the way, before Sase starts destroying it.
He's got the whole map.
All the way across the left-hand side, all the way across the right-hand side. Not messing around with that creep.
You know, we talk about how creative Sase's builds are, how fancy his micro is, but as a solid fundamental Zerg player, Snute is just... I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's
great
amazing.
at keeping his composure as well. Keep in mind, he's down 2-0. This game means everything for both of these players. Of course, a must-win for Snute. And if Sase wins, he secures that spot at the MLG Winter Championships on March 15th.
Oh, the speed encounters coming in. A lot of cannons, so they shouldn't get too much done. The Protoss army's moving forward. Snute's got to find a way to buy time to get out a lot of Corruptors.
We got 7 Corruptors on the field. He's going to try to buy time with these fungals. The Colossi have that Thermal Lance upgrade. Stalker's going to be blinking for it, trying to pick off some Infestors. Trading a few Stalkers for an Infestor is never a bad trade ever. Corruptor's going to try to engage these Colossi here, but look at all these Colossus here from Sase. Time Warp's going down, trying to freeze those Infestors in place, but the Corruptors doing a decent amount of damage done on this Colossi. But here come the Stalker reinforcements from Sase, and that's the biggest danger here, because sure, you can make a bunch of Corruptors, but once the Colossi are gone, if there's a bunch of Stalkers, there's not going to be much to deal with that. And Sase is just going to charge forward towards his 4th base.
He's going to plow right through it. I mean, it was like 7 Corruptors versus 6 Colossi. The Colossi just destroyed the ground army so fast. I mean, Snute's rallying a few units at a time, but this is a Mega Protoss army. more Zerg keeps coming, though. Zerg's coming in from everywhere, but those 4 Colossi are standing strong.
These units are just too powerful. And there's the GG from Snute. Sase takes the 3-0 and secures his spot at the MLG Winter Championships in Dallas, Texas. Snute, unfortunately, fell behind in this series. I felt like the first 2 games just didn't go his way. Of course, game 1 caught completely off guard by that 8-gate all-in. Had no idea it was coming. Game 2 tried to construct a push that it just didn't work. And when that happens, it's just so hard to get through that. Of course, game 3, a very solid effort, but Sase was able to secure that 3rd base. And when you can't kill that early of a 3rd base and you invest so many Lings and Roaches into it, it's going to be a very hard game to win. But Snute fought hard, and honestly, I give props to him for making that a close game, because I thought after that Nexus was up and Sase had just such a brilliant defense, I thought it was over, but Snute made a game out of it.
He really did. I mean, that was a series where Snute's fundamental mechanics are just so strong. And I feel like game 1 set the tone, because game 1, he just killed him, he got caught off guard. Game 2 and 3, Snute massively overmade units in the early parts of the game, was forced to do damage, couldn't get it done, fell enormously far behind. Game 2 is just too far behind to get back. Game 3, though, man, I thought he had no chance. Like you said, he made an amazing game out of it. I really feel Snute, we didn't see how good this guy actually is that series, because he got caught so off guard. Even in game 3, it's weird to say he got caught off guard, but he got caught off guard by the fact that it wasn't an 8-gate.
Yeah.
He made units thinking it was an 8-gate. Really, it was a fast 3rd. And
even if you see a fast 3rd like that, isn't that a similar reaction? You make all those units too to try to kill it? I think most of that was Sase just with a brilliant defense too.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think Oz has beaten out of most top Zergs.
Oh, yeah.
There was about a 3-month period where Oz was like 95% in PvZ off of a single thing. You take a fast 3rd, Zergs would try to kill it, and say, no, if Protoss makes a solid defense, you can't do it. And he literally won every single PvZ off of Zergs trying to kill an unkillable 3rd.
That's true.
I mean, and Snute put himself in that position. I think it's the burden is for Protoss to lose their 3rd to that push, they have to make a mistake. And Sase's micros too.
And on top of that, if we're talking about Heart of the Storm specific strategies, the Mothership Core, in addition to taking this 3rd base, adds so much utility to actually protecting it with that Photon Overcharge ability. We saw Sase utilize that in defending that, and it did a great amount in actually defending that attack there from Snute.
Yeah, I mean, that attack was, he had to do it. He committed himself to doing it. He couldn't do the damage. He fell so far behind, and the arming to end the upgrades. He was 3-3 versus like 2-1 Zerg, and nothing died.
Yeah.
Like the Protoss just wouldn't die. It's like walking around Colossi, just zapping everything. They're like, "Hey, what's up, Zerg? You like fire? Here, someone has some lasers."
Zerg's like throwing their bodies against the Protoss army and nothing's happening. Sase did a really good job upgrading throughout the entire game and then formulating that final push that felt like it was his game plan the entire way. I'm going to get all these Colossi, I'm going to get superior upgrades, and I'm going to push for the win for my spot at the Winter Championships. And it worked. He did it. Sase going to take down Snute 3-0. Congrats to him. If you missed any of the games today, again, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/official MLGSE2. If you missed any of the games last week, youtube.com/official MLGSE2. All there, all free. 1080p HD. Every single one of these games, too, will be there eventually, but the games actually have to happen first. That being said, tomorrow we're going to have Nerchio versus Baby Knight. That's a best of 5, of course. Again, the winner of all of these go to the Winter Championships. All best of 5s, all Heart of the Storm, Stefano, Titan, Mana Blythe, Sake, Thorzane, Grubby, Damaga. Which one are you getting like little tickles in your stomach when you look at it?
They're also amazing.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, Stefano Titan. If I had to pick one, I mean, Stefano, of course, is amazing. Enough said. Everyone knows about Stefano. Titan, though, I feel people don't realize this is true in Brood War, and this was true in Warcraft 3. The Eastern Europeans and Russians and, from that sector, like, they didn't get to play in that many events because the travel's so far. Online events, their latency's so bad they can't compete well. But then events they do go to, they just crush.
Yeah.
But because it's not that many, people always underestimate these guys. Titan, we saw at the Blizzard World Finals, he's so good.
Yes.
So good.
Very underrated guy.
Extremely. And he's going to give Stefano a heck of a match. A heck of a match.
Of course, all these matches coming up this week, starting with Baby Knight Nerchio tomorrow. One that stuck out to me that there's only one Terran on that entire list. Thorzane. So Sake versus Thorzane, I think that's the one I'm going to be looking out for. That's going to be an awesome PBT. But I think that concludes our day. I think that about wraps it up, guys. Make sure, again, to subscribe to youtube.com/official MLGSC2. If you miss anything, it will be right there. Otherwise, every single day, pretty much every single day, 5 p.m. Eastern, except Saturdays, we're going to be here. We're going to be live. So make sure to tune in live when you can. It's a lot of fun to interact with the community. Maybe win yourself some beta keys. Of course, the next beta key giveaway will probably be when we get to 5,000 subscribers, which we're not too far away from. So again, make sure to prioritize that in your daily visit to the interwebs. Just head on over to that YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. That being said, I think we're done for the day. Again, congratulations for Sase for getting that spot at the Winter Championships, taking out Snute 3-0, and we'll see you tomorrow with Nerd Show versus Babe Night.